Imposter syndrome. It's been talked about a lot, but unfortunately, it still hasn't gone away. It's still around. It's still a big part of lots of people's lives and careers, and it's certainly something I have to deal with still today. It's probably not as strong as what it was back in the day, but I certainly deal with it still. So, hi, my name's Alysha Randall. I am a portfolio CFO and I also train aspiring or new finance directors, particularly in fast growth or startup businesses. And imposter syndrome is something that I see a lot of, particularly with people that are going from a management role into a leadership role. So, in the accounting world, that would be, say, a financial controller into the head of finance or finance director role. And after you've done so much studying and you've worked for so many different companies, and then you need to take that next step into that leadership role, it can be quite daunting. And this is often when people really do find that imposter syndrome gets worse. Funnily enough, the people that are more successful with their career and the higher they get into that leadership role actually is when they find that imposter syndrome gets even worse. So that first time you're walking into the leadership meeting, that first time that you're having to have conversations with all of the leaders in the business is often the time that you question your self-worth almost, and your confidence takes a real battering. And so I've got 5 tips on how I deal with imposter syndrome. As I said, it was a lot worse earlier in my career when I was a finance director for the first time, but now it only creeps up every now and then. So the first step is to look at the facts. So very often when you start feeling those feelings, essentially, it's a good time to try and step back and look at it objectively. So, if you're feeling that you're not good enough with it for the leadership team meetings to speak up and you find it difficult to find your voice, is there a reason why you feel that way? So have the people in the leadership team said to you, you're not good enough for this job? More likely than not. So try and look at it objectively. It's a bit of cognitive therapy, actually. Doing things this way is actually looking at the facts. So you are the most qualified accountant in the company. You know more about finance than anyone else, and you have every right to be there. So try and take the emotion out of it, take a step back and look at the facts. The second one is to change your self-talk. So you are what you say, your thoughts become your actions. So if you keep saying to yourself negative things and saying, oh, I'm not good enough, well, I shouldn't be here, blah, 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 then you will totally behave that way and that will become a self-belief. So it's trying to recognize when you're saying those negative things inside your head and trying to reverse that. So either stopping that and saying, no, that's not true, I do belong here, or doing those old school affirmations. So saying to yourself some affirmations every morning or at lunchtime or what have you, to say, I am a great leader, I belong here, I am good at my role, these kind of things to help with that negative self-talk. But identifying it first and trying to manage that is a good first step. The third one is to celebrate small wins. So what I like to do to celebrate small wins or any positive feedback is at any time that somebody says to me, oh, you did a really good job at that, well done, or even better, you get it in an email, I actually have a folder in my inbox that says good feedback. And so if I get anything that is written to me, I will always move that into the good feedback folder. Or even if somebody says something to me that was really positive, I'll even email myself. So from my personal email to my work email, I'll email myself this positive feedback, and then I'll file it away into that file. Either, whether it was in a meeting or even a Slack message, like if I've got something on a messenger, I'll take a snip of that and file it away. And the reason why I do that is because you're recognizing the good things. As humans, we find it much easier to remember the bad things, the negative things that are said to us rather than the positive. So trying to make sure that you keep a record of all of those things And then as an added bonus is when you're having a bad day or you feel that negative self-talk coming up again, go into that folder and read all of the good things that you have done. So it's kind of a reminder that, you know, all these good things and positive things that have been said to you that you've probably forgotten are there as a reminder so that you can see all of the good work that you actually do. Number 4 is actually identifying improvement needs. Now, this primarily comes from feedback that you get. So I would always ask for feedback because it's very useful. Or if you feel that there's something that you really don't know and people keep talking about it all the time and you feel that you should probably learn about it. So either you learn about it on the job or you actually go to somebody in the leadership team, one of your colleagues, and say, I really don't understand this. Can I buy you lunch? And you can tell me all about it. There's hardly anyone that would say no. I can't imagine anyone saying no. I've had a lot of people ask me that. So, people saying, I don't understand a P&L, a cash flow, a balance sheet. Can I buy you lunch and can you give me a crash course? There is no way that I would say no to that. So it's helping people learn. So if you find that there is something small that you really don't understand in your business, particularly if it's a new industry for you, if you're moving into, say, fintech, for example, where there's loads of regulations, it might be a great idea to take the compliance officer out for lunch. Or if it's, something very specific to the business, you can do that. The other way, of course, is you look at courses. If you feel that you lack some leadership skills, I know a couple of great courses. There's links below that you can do. Or, you can talk to HR if you have one, or your boss, the founder, and go to them with, oh, this is a gap that I feel that I have. Here are some options. What do you think? And then finally, it is finding a coach or mentor if you can. So whether that's within the company or if you have a really good relationship with an ex-boss of yours, you might be able to reach out to them. That's basically what I have done, and reach out to them and ask them, if you can have, again, take them out for lunch or for coffee, once or twice a year or more, and they will be able to coach you. You can also ask that as part of, if you have a coaching or training budget, you might be able to ask to have a mindset coach that can help you with those kind of things and give you that confidence and give you more kind of tactics and skills. So they're my 5 tips for dealing with imposter syndrome, particularly if you're a new finance leader, and hopefully you'll find them useful. Cheers.